do our stellate ganglion block, and we brought a bunch of snacks to Gaskin's office. So here's some Cool Ranch. How do Reese's Pieces taste like? How about the Doritos?
A little sour, salty, like garbage taste.
How about beef jerky?
Garbagey too.
Garbagey. How about watermelon sweet tart ropes?
Watermelon tastes like rotten cucumbers, so I don't know how those are gonna taste.
You don't remember what it tastes
I
like?
haven't had those before.
But do you remember what watermelon is supposed to taste like?
No.
No. What else did I bring? How about mint?
It tastes like chocolate tastes gross, like beans.
Like beans.
Rotten.
3 at least of your 4 senses have been affected: smell, taste, and hearing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have muscle pains and headaches. You have memory and brain fog issues. So you see, when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at body systems. So your smell, your taste, your senses, your cardiac, your respiratory. Are you short of breath? Do you have a constant cough? Your IBS, any IBS type symptoms, GI symptoms, leg cramps, the vascular system, when you're dizzy when you stand, the vascular system's not working appropriately. So the only thing that controls all of these body systems is your nervous system, your autonomic nervous system, to be precise, okay? You have a central nervous system, brain, spinal cord, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every nerve, all those little yellow nerves coming out of that spine, that's called our peripheral nervous system. We have nerves that supply our muscles and we can control them. We have our autonomic nervous system, meaning that that's innervating vasculature, muscles, organs, heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, adrenal glands, the nervous system, our smell, taste, all our senses, our cranial nerves. So we have our autonomic system that kind of runs everything in the background. Somebody named it the autonomic system, meaning that we can't control it. We have no control over it. I disagree with that slightly, okay? So I will talk about that in a minute. But now let's look at that part that you have no control over, okay? That autonomic system. It's broken up into 2 systems. Now these 2 systems work in complete opposition to each other to try to maintain some equilibrium or balance of your body. One is called your sympathetic nervous system and one's called the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic is your fight or flight system. That's the one that it gets activated, it gets turned on if your body thinks it's in danger, okay? If it thinks there's something that's a threat to you, okay? When you caught COVID, okay, your body detected a virus in you that was dangerous to you, and it triggered a sympathetic nervous system response, okay? When that nervous system response got triggered and turned on, so to speak, it's like a light going on, a lot of things happened in your body, okay? The vasculature in your legs, your arms, constricted. Your body wants to conserve blood supply and shunt blood to the major organs of your body, your heart, lungs, liver, and kidneys, okay? Kind of a caveman mentality thing. The body knows, a saber-toothed tiger could eat your foot off, but he can't have heart and lungs. You can live without a foot, but you can't live without the heart and lungs, liver, and kidneys, okay? So when it's activated, immediately your hands and feet become cold and it shunts blood to the chest cavity. If we're frightened or if we're afraid or your body's preparing for a big fight or flight, it triggers your cardiac system. Your heart rate goes up, okay? Now we're going to fuel those muscles for fight or flight, so your heart rate goes up to give you a higher blood pressure. What happens when we get frightened? We go, what'd your body do? Your body took in more oxygen. It opened the lungs up, it expanded the bronchioles in your lungs, and you took more oxygen in. So your body's trying to prepare you for fight or flight. It takes oxygen, it dilates the blood vessels, it dilates the bronchioles in the lungs, it constricts the blood vessels, increases the heart rate. The adrenal glands release adrenaline. Epinephrine gives us that superhuman strength, that energy to fight for our life or flee to get away from something dangerous, okay? Because your sympathetic got triggered, okay? Your parasympathetic reflexively, as a reflex, had to shut down. Your reflex, that's parasympathetic, is your rest and digest system, your rest and recoup system. Why do you not sleep well? Okay, your body's constantly dumping adrenaline or epinephrine into your bloodstream 24/7. You're stuck in this fight or flight system versus being in equilibrium and floating back and forth from it. Does that make sense? So you don't sleep well. You are in fatigue because your body was never designed to be in a fight or flight for a year at a time. It was designed to go into that fight or flight for a life-saving time, for a few seconds to minutes at a time, and then get away, save yourself, get away, and then go into fluctuate, and then go into parasympathetic, where you can rest, digest, and recoup, let your body regenerate itself and replenish all those hormones and neurotransmitters that it released during the fight or flight. This condition is called dysautonomia. This dysfunction of the autonomic system is called dysautonomia. It's a condition that's been around for decades and decades. It's nothing that we've known about it for a long, long time, okay? The difference is that modern medicine doesn't think we can modulate or affect that autonomic system, okay? That's where I think the change is coming, is that we're finding we can. Okay, we have hundreds and hundreds of patients that have figured out that we can change and modulate, affect this autonomic system. I think somehow there could be two, I don't know, I wouldn't say I'm making this up, but I'm using my experience as my guide, of seeing hundreds and hundreds of patients just like you. Y'all are living in this high fight or flight, which means you're a little anxious. You're on edge, okay? Which is, your nervous system is demanding that, is forcing you to be there. So that may be something I just see as, it's only that person in fight or flight that comes to me that would smell and taste. So it could be that. It could be hereditary. It could be a genetic thing. You know, why are some people short, some people tall? Why are some people, if your grandmother had breast cancer and your mother had breast cancer, there's a high probability you have breast cancer, right? You can't really affect it. Maybe you're just prone to dysautonomia because that's your genetics, okay? I don't know. The other thing I will say is it can certainly be a conditioned response. We know that from PTSDs. If we keep sending people to combat situations, either males or females, you know, I personally know guys that have been in 13, 14 deployments over the last 20 years. If you continually send these people into a life-threatening environment for 6 months at a time, every year, it's very hard for their body to just turn that off. It's becoming a conditioned response. Does that make sense? Their body wants to live there. They're staying there more than they are in a relaxed, safe setting, and so their body becomes pretty happy to stay there. I think I've seen just as many women that were in abusive relationships. That's a daily thing for years and years and years, and they live in a fight or flight. They never know if they're really safe. They never feel truly safe. And so they're living in a high fight or flight response, and that develops into this dysautonomia and all of these symptoms that we're seeing. So you can see different scenarios where it can be a conditioned response. We put our bodies under a stressful environment, a fight or flight response, and our body gets pretty happy staying there, and it lives there. Eventually you start seeing physical symptoms of it. You know, your fatigue, your brain fog, the dizziness when you stand, IBS symptoms, racing heart, shortness of breath, all of these, and then many, many, many more. Ringing in your ears, vision loss, hair loss, on and on and on. It goes on and on.
And just by blocking it for 10-15 minutes, that's enough for this to reset for her in this case?
That's the whole idea of the sympathetic, the stellate ganglion. If you're in a high fight or flight, you're in a disequilibrium between the sympathetic and parasympathetic system. Your body has not been able to talk to that and shut that down, okay, and return it back to a fluctuation between those two systems. This is the sympathetic nerve to your brain.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a motor nerve. It's not a sensory nerve that you feel heat, okay? This is a sympathetic nerve. You have sympathetic nerves throughout your body, and you have parasympathetic nerves throughout your body. This is one of the sympathetic nerves that travel to your brain, particularly the hypothalamus in the brain, and is feeding it all the information, right? From blood pressure to temperature, sweating. If you walk out in this Texas heat and you start sweating, that's a sympathetic nervous system response. Your body detected heat, it could overheat. We don't want you to overheat. We're gonna sweat and try to cool you down. Your body is doing these things millions of times a second, okay? So all this information is being fed. The sight, the smell, the taste, the hearing, all your senses are being fed into these sensory nerves, sympathetic nerves, travel to the brain processes it, realizes how much danger you're in, and then sends out effector signals of what we're going to do about it. Right now, whatever's going on is detecting too much sympathetic drive and is keeping you in this high sympathetic drive. If I block one of the sympathetic nerves, we're just going to shut that off, okay? And I don't need to shut it off for a long time. At least in my practice, I don't. I use a lidocaine, which is a very short acting, maybe 15-20 minutes. It's the fact that I shut it off. When I shut it off quickly, that forces that hypothalamus, the mainframe, the central nervous system, to do a quick calculation, reassessment of your body. Are you suffering from COVID? Are you being threatened by anything? How much sympathetic drive do you need? And it's going to realize you're probably pretty safe. You're okay. You don't need all this sympathetic activation in your body, and it immediately brings you back to an equilibrium between those two systems. That's why you get long. The first guy I treated was November of 21. We're August. He's 10 months out. He's never required a second injection. He's never required any additional. And I've got hundreds and hundreds of patients like that. It's not that I blocked you for 10 months and I blocked that sympathetic drive for 10 months. That's not my objective. My objective is if I can quickly and really intensely shut off that sympathetic drive, I think that's what triggers the central nervous system to do the reset, the recalculation, the reassessment. And then your body fixes itself.
Awesome. Okay.
And all those symptoms go away, okay? Your smell and taste is just one, okay?
That's amazing. I cannot wait.
If we fix one, right, we fix them all, okay?
All of those.
We fix them all.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Smell and taste is just one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay. Okay, so we're scheduled today, right now, to do the right side first.
Correct.
And then possibly tomorrow a second shot, or possibly this afternoon this second shot in
Correct.
the left side.
Correct.
So what's your recommendation?
I do think the right and left is important. We start and inject the right side of your body first, okay? These sympathetic nerves are taking all of this sympathetic sensory input, taking it to the brain. We have to find which side is the more dominant, which one is providing the most sensory input to the brain. That's the one we want to shut off.
Mm-hmm.
The two things I cannot predict is, are you right-sided or are you left-sided in this dominant sympathetic input, okay? Most people, and just in my practice, somewhere around 70-75% are more right-sided dominant. Okay, so we do the right side first. We see people get the greatest response from it, and that's what you came from. You just want to see a good response. But even if you only got a 10 or 20% improvement, that really doesn't alarm me. That tells me you're more left-sided dominant. Your body, as long as your body responds, as long as we see a change, that your body was able to make the reset and bring some, for you, the quick things you're going to see are smell and taste. Okay, it's hard to see in a matter of minutes fatigue get better, that ringing in your ear get better, or dizziness when you stand. It's harder to quantify those things. But if you could not eat chocolate and peanut butter before, and I give you a Reese's cup now and you can eat it, that helps you realize, yeah, it's better.
It's working.
Right, it's working. And so that just starts reducing anxieties and making you feel better, and that's what you came for. So over the next week or two, you'll start noticing all those symptoms have gone away. That you're not tired, you go to sleep and you wake up rested, you don't have irritable bowel syndromes, your heart's not racing, you wake up, you just feel good, you're not anxious when you go outside, you don't feel depressed. It's just, everything's gonna be so much better. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Smell
okay.
it.
It's okay. It's not gonna make you eat it, just smell it.
It's okay if it didn't work.
It smells like corn.
Not like garbage?
I don't know. A little bit like corn.
That's a bad
tastes
one.
really
It's a
bad.
rough one.
I'm so shaky. Oh my gosh. It smells like a little bit like beef jerky. There's like a tiny little bit of garbage at the end, but it does smell like beef jerky.
It's just gonna get better. That's 5 minutes, okay?
It doesn't taste like garbage.
But
It's
that's
like
all
sweet
we
and,
wanted.
like,
Yeah.
smoky.
Smoky.
It smells like beef jerky.
All right, let's try the Reese's Pieces, Hazel.
Keep trying.
Do you want to keep trying?
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Do it.
We'll do a little.
I smell a little bit of peanut butter.
Oh, Daisy. Does that taste like
It
something?
doesn't taste like garbage the way it tasted before.
Yeah?
It tastes good.
You can taste treats again.
It tastes a little bit of the peanut butter, but the chocolate tastes like
Chocolate?
halfway like chocolate. But, oh my gosh, a little bit of it, yeah.
I'm
Mine is
shaking.
so shaky.
I don't know. I'm shaking this.
I told you, your body's going through a lot of changes right now. It's okay.
My nose is too stuffy.
Yeah.
It smells.
Take a taste.
There's no garbage. Oh my gosh, just taste a little bit of the mint. It's good.
It's good. It's good. Okay.
Relax and enjoy it, okay? Relax and
Thank
enjoy
you
it,
so
okay?
much.